Chapter 640, Collecting Weapons. The urgency of the situation had not occurred to Zhang Yi. He glanced at the satellite phone. It was now 3:30 p.m., which meant that in just over 10 hours they would have to set off for Jiangning City to carry out their mission. Lan Xinchen gave the 3 teams a briefing on the mission according to the predetermined plan. The target's current area of operation is Jiangning Square in the center of Jiangning City. This is one of the busiest commercial districts in the area, and they have used satellite shielding technology, which prevents us from monitoring them in real time. At that time, we will first carry out all-round bombing of the entire Jiangning Square. Subsequently, your 3 teams will act as the vanguard and slowly approach Jiangning Square from 3 directions. While waiting for the enemy to appear, your task is to hold them back and engage in a dogfight with them. The rest will be left to the main force of this time, the Heavenly Squad, to carry out. Lan Xinchen only briefly mentioned the specifics of the mission. Zhang Yi understood that the core of the mission was still with the Heavenly Squad. And they didn't need to let too many people know what they were going to do. This was also to prevent information leaks and avoid a situation similar to the first battle. After Lan Xinchen finished speaking, he looked at the crowd and asked again, "Any questions?" Xiao Lingling sneered and nonchalantly crossed her arms. The expressions of the others were similar. They were very clear about their own positioning and had long been mentally prepared. But what if they were the bait? As long as the mission was successful, the benefits they could obtain would be considerable. Not only would they be able to achieve the righteousness of the country and family and gain fame, they would also obtain a large amount of resources and territory. It was definitely worth the risk. After waiting for a few seconds and seeing that no one had raised any objections, Lan Xinchen continued, "Then, please go prepare for the battle." Preparation for battle? Zhang Yi raised an eyebrow. He was already fully armed, so he didn't need any special preparation. Tu Yunlai, the Minister of Operations, slowly stood up and said in a deep voice, "For this battle, the headquarters has equipped you with special weapons. Please follow me to receive them." He paused and emphasized again, "Special weapons used by the Yanyan troops." Upon hearing this, Zhang Yi and the others' eyes flashed with curiosity and anticipation. They had never used the special equipment of the Blizzard City Professional Army. But they had heard about it more or less and knew of its powerful characteristics. In Zhang Yi's mind, the first thing that came to mind was the black, tight-fitting battle armor and the standard cold weapons made of Edelman metal. And also, the origin bomb. So far, with the help of Liu Karen, Zhang Yi had only been able to replicate the origin bomb. As for the Edelman metal and the black tight-fitting battle armor, either the materials are too difficult to synthesize, or the technological content is too high, and Liu Karen cannot replicate them for the time being. Everyone! Zhu Jing stood up, and the others also stood up one after the other. Zhu Jing's face was serious, as if it were a piece of blunt black iron. "This battle is about the reputation of my Jiangnan region and the honor of my country. Therefore, please fight hard to kill the enemy and be sure to completely destroy these Ronin." The crowd answered in unison, "Yes." The loud and determined voices shook the ceiling. No matter where these people came from, whether they were kind, evil, despicable, cunning, or just, they would not be ambiguous in the face of the righteousness of their country. This is a glorious deed that they will be able to proudly speak of in the future. After the meeting, Zhu Jing left Deng Shintong and Tu Yunlai alone. As core members, they still had more detailed battle plans to discuss. And the task of taking Zhang Yi and other foreigners from the outer city to select equipment was entrusted to Bai Li Changqing. To be honest, Zhang Yi felt a bit suffocated just looking at him. After all, he was nominally the captain of the investigation team, on the same level as Deng Shintong. But obviously, Bai Li Changqing had never entered the core circle of the Combat Command Center. It can only be said that Blizzard City is a place where strength is paramount. The level of ability determines a person's status. Zhang Yi and the others followed Bai Li Changqing all the way to the weapons arsenal below. After undergoing multiple layers of identity verification, Bai Li Changqing opened the door to the weapons arsenal. What came into view was a huge weapons arsenal, with rows of weapons and equipment neatly arranged inside. Firearms, cold weapons, battle suits, tanks, armored vehicles, and even armed helicopters. Bai Li Changqing turned around, smiled, and spread his hands to the crowd. "Everyone, you can pick any weapon you want here, as many as you can carry." Zhang Yi's eyebrows shot up. "Oh?" Bai Li Changqing's smile froze on his face, and he quickly corrected himself. "I mean weapons that can be carried on your body. Teleporters are not allowed to take anything into space." Zhang Yi shrugged nonchalantly. He didn't care about ordinary equipment. As soon as he arrived, his gaze was fixed on the various battle suits inside. The crowd couldn't wait to rush into the weapons vault, and then stared at the large number of new weapons inside, their eyes shining. Veteran Yu Xingyang was the first to arrive at the place where the anti-material sniper rifles were kept, opened a heavy weapon case, and carried out a huge Barrett sniper rifle from inside. Wu Shifang, on the other hand, went to the area where the battle suits were stacked, picked and chose, and got himself a set of heavy battle armor. This suit of armor weighs about 20 kilograms, with many metal armor plates embedded on the outside and an exoskeleton device on the inside that can enhance a person's strength. It is very suitable for him, a melee-type alien who specializes in enhancement. Some people had clear goals and quickly found the right armament for themselves. Some people were pondering what kind of weapon was suitable for them. After arriving in the suit of armor area, Zhang Yi reached out and removed a pair of black tights from the wall. However, after putting the suit on, his brows furrowed slightly. This thing felt completely different from the battle suit he wore at the martial arts field that day. He tried on other battle suits again and found that they all had the same texture. What's going on? Could it be that is more advanced equipment? Zhang Yi thought about this and looked up, scanning the entire weapons warehouse. Indeed, the weapons and equipment here were very advanced, but they were all general-purpose weapons. Thermal weapons meant little to Zhang Yi. He had the White Eagle and Thunder Strike custom-made for him by Luo Karan. The power of these two weapons, without exaggeration, reached the pinnacle of individual combat thermal weapons. Used in conjunction with Zhang Yi's abilities, they were far superior to anything like the Barrett or Desert Eagle. As for cold weapons, Zhang Yi walked over and picked up a dark dagger at random, held it in his hand and tried it out. Sure enough, it wasn't made of Edelman metal. He basically understood in his heart. It seems that the weapons arsenal that the Jiangnan region opened up to them was not comprehensive. Zhang Yi walked back without saying a word and came to Bai Li Changqing's side. He whispered, "Is this what you're going to use to get rid of us?" Bai Li Changqing laughed. "This is not a way to get rid of you. These are the common weapons of the Yanyan army." Then, Zhang Yi looked at him in puzzlement. Bai Li Changqing explained, "The battle armor you used in the martial arts arena before can only be used by the investigation team and a small number of senior management with special permissions. As for the weapons made of Edelman metal, the same goes. Those are not just any old stuff." Chapter 641, Everyone is Responsible. Zhang Yi's heart spat out. The headquarters is really a chicken thief. It's come to this time, and they still haven't given them the best weapons and equipment. But on second thought, it makes sense. After all, those weapons would be artifact level if they appeared in the outer city, and if they were distributed in large quantities, they could cause competition in the future, and they could also lead to technology leaks. Although he understood, Zhang Yi was always the type to take advantage of any opportunity. He leaned in close to Bai Li Changqing and whispered, "No matter what, you have to get Liang Yu and me a set of black tights. With our friendship, there shouldn't be a problem, right?" Bai Li Changqing's face turned a little red. "Those are all controlled equipment and can't be given to just anyone. Especially the battle suits, they're all high-tech products, and I can't give them to you either." Zhang Yi asked for 2 suits at once, which made it difficult for him. Zhang Yi glared. "Difficult? Then don't do it." Bai Li Changqing waved his hand with a smile. "Don't be angry. Although this matter is troublesome, it is not without discussion. If it were someone else, Bai Li Changqing would still have to consider the possibility that he would die in battle. But if it were given to Zhang Yi, there was no need to worry about that at all. There are not many people in the entire Blizzard City who truly understand Zhang Yi's strength, and Bai Li Changqing is definitely the one who knows best. Because Zhang Yi personally told him that his strength is no less than that of the late Captain Bian Junwu. Combined with Zhang Yi's usual cautious way of acting, it is simply more difficult than climbing to heaven to make him die. So, what do you say, what should we do? Zhang Yi asked. Bai Li Changqing looked around, pulled Zhang Yi to an unoccupied corner, and then whispered, I will give you my battle armor and Meng Siyu's first. But when you come back, you must give it back to us. As for weapons, you all have your own exclusive ones, so there is no need to ask me for them. Zhang Yi saw Bai Li Changqing's serious expression and understood that the black tights were very rare. Although it is a pity that they cannot ask for 10 or 8 sets to take back, they can get 2 sets to wear, which can greatly improve their survival rate in the mission, which is still good. Okay, it's settled. Zhang Yi returned to the weapons arsenal and pretended to choose some equipment. The others also chose their own weapons, and they were all over the body, not missing anything, and they were eager to be armed to the teeth. The standard weapons used by these Yanyun special forces were relatively ordinary to Zhang Yi, but they were all excellent things for them. After everyone had chosen their weapons, Bai Li Changqing said to them, For now, everyone stay in the operations center and stand by. Someone will send you there when the time comes. The operations center was relatively large, and naturally there was also a rest area. The strangers in the outer city then split up into groups of 2 or 3. Some discussed the next tactics with serious expressions, while others went to rest on their own to prepare for the upcoming battle. Zhang Yi, on the other hand, mysteriously called Liang Yu and followed Bai Li Changqing to the special rest area for their black robe investigation team. Bai Li Changqing asked Meng Siyu for her battle suit and handed Zhang Yi his suit as well. The battle suit is smartly shrinkable, so there will be no discomfort in terms of body type. You go next door and change first. Zhang Yi handed Meng Siyu's battle suit to Liang Yu. Liang Yu had seen this black battle suit before and had heard Zhang Yi talk about its magic. When she got the battle suit, she couldn't help but secretly think, Zhang Yi is really amazing to want even this kind of thing. She took the battle suit and went to the female changing room next door without a trace of emotion. Zhang Yi went to the male changing room and started to undress on his own. At this moment, Bai Li Changqing walked in from outside. Zhang Yi looked back and met his gaze, his eyes full of a hint of vigilance. What are you doing here? At this time, he had just taken off his shirt, revealing his strong upper body. After the end of the world, he has never neglected his daily exercise, so his body is very fit, and there is hardly a hint of fat on him. Bai Li Changqing waved his hand with a smile, Don't get me wrong, I just want to chat with you before you set off. Saying this, he leaned against the wall with his arms folded. Zhang Yi said indifferently, Just ask if you have any questions. Bai Li Changqing's expression became serious. He frowned slightly and stared at Zhang Yi and said, What are your plans for this operation? Headquarters doesn't know your strength, and has arranged the operation as if you were an ordinary alien. But I know your strength, and it is definitely not inferior to Deng Shintong's. So, are you planning to make a move at the critical moment, take over Eclipse Moon, and take all the credit for yourself? Zhang Yi had already changed into his tights. After hearing Bai Li Changqing's words, he looked amused. Do I look like that kind of person? Quite like it. Bai Li Changqing nodded without hesitation. That's how you played it in Tianhai City before. Zhang Yi. Upon thinking about it, it seems that this is really the case. At first, he pretended to be weak, and then waited for the right opportunity to appear and reap the fruits of victory. Zhang Yi shook his head. At the beginning, I was trying to eliminate Yuan Konya and protect the safety of myself and those around me. But to be honest, I'm not very interested in the credit for this mission or anything. None of that matters to me. Bai Li Changqing let go of his arms and stared at Zhang Yi. Then what are you doing it for? Nothing. Zhang Yi smiled, just because I'm Chinese, that's all. Upon hearing this, Bai Li Changqing looked at Zhang Yi with respect. I see, I'm sorry, I originally thought that you had other motives. Zhang Yi laughed. Of course I have my own ideas, but at a time like this, if a person loses their sense of collective honor, then there is no way to avoid disaster. He slowly put on his combat uniform, carefully attaching the Velcro. But this time, with the Divine Squad as the main force, I won't be the one to expose my identity. When necessary, I will step in, so you can rest assured. But for now, I hope you can keep this a secret. Zhang Yichao winked at Bai Li Changqing. Bai Li Changqing sighed. As the leader of the investigation team in Blizzard City, concealing important information made him feel uneasy. But this was a secret between him and Zhang Yichao, and he had to keep it a secret. However, he vaguely understood that this secret could not be kept forever. When that time came, how was he going to face Zhu Jin? This question gave Bai Li Changqing a headache. Indeed, human greed is a terrible thing that will leave you with endless consequences. For the time being, he can only take things one step at a time. Don't worry, I understand. I'm sure you won't let anyone down. Zhang Yi's smile grew wider at the corner of his mouth, and he did not answer Bai Li Changqing's words. He would not promise anything, but he could only say that he would ensure the safety of himself and Liang Yu, and under that premise, he would try his best to kill as many members of Eclipse Moon as possible.